The chamber has a very rich history. So sustainability, it's just not something to check the boxes. It's about our survival. Sustainability is at the core of our business strategy in the times to come. We can make this world better for everyone. Today, the new generation consumers, the youngsters, they are quite conscious of these sustainable practices. That whenever any new scheme comes, we make sure that those schemes are talked about, that they are discussed. Green hydrogen is the future fuel. And whenever anything new comes, there is a resistance and there's a doubt in the mind of people. And seeing is believing. When anything new comes, initially there is a kind of inertia, resistance. But I think that these are going to pay us. These are going to become our asset. It is the time to think long. They should not think it as a just one-time business and earn some money. No, they are thinking for the future. In next 2 decades, they have all the time in the world to make what India wants to be.
Hello and welcome. Today we are joined by Dr. Ranjit Mehta, CEO and Secretary General of PHDCCI, an industry leader, a strong voice for sustainable business and a policymaker. Today, let's try to decode why sustainability is not just a buzzword and how it can become central to smart business strategy. Thank you so much, Dr. Mehta, for joining us.
Thank you.
Dr. Mehta, through its 120-year history at PHDCCI, you've seen its evolution. How have you seen it change or grow when it comes to environmental accountability and sustainability?
You see, PHDCCI, we just recently celebrated 120 years of our existence and legacy. The chamber has a very rich history. Established in 1905, I think PHDCCI, from one office, we have today 30 offices all over the country. It has come a long way. There are only very few organizations who have sustained for such a long time, more than a century. So therefore, it's a very proud moment for all of us. So sustainability is a word which was used very loosely maybe a decade ago. However, today it's a question of survival. It's in our strategic business decision making. So sustainability, it's just not something to check the boxes. It's about our survival, because the way the world is changing, and we have seen so many changes in the environment in our lifetime. We have seen the tsunami. We have seen the kind of floods that we have. We have seen glaciers melting. So the temperature which is rising every year. So that's a very, very important sign for us. And we have only one earth to live in. So therefore, sustainability is at the core of our business strategy in the times to come.
Right. Dr. Mehta, India has set very ambitious targets for net zero by 2070. And we also have a target of having 50% of our electricity from renewables by 2030. And these are ambitious targets. Who fills these targets? And, how much of a responsibility does corporate India have to chip in and make the effort so that, yes, we are truly green?
Yeah. You rightly pointed out, we want to become net zero. Prime Minister Modi has set a target of, Government of India has set a target of becoming net zero by 2070. But for that, a lot needs to be done. And Government of India has set very, very ambitious target. Number one is to reduce the carbon emissions by 45% by 2030. Secondly, I would like you to go a little back. In 2010, there was a first Jawaharlal Nehru solar mission,
Yes.
which was announced. in that, the solar target by 2022 was set 20 gigawatt. But when Prime Minister Modi came to power, Modi government came to power, NDA government came to power in 2014, they had set a solar mission. They had revised the target by 5 times. They set 100 gigawatt of solar energy by 2022. And now they have set even higher, more ambitious target, that is 500 gigawatt of solar energy, 500 gigawatt of renewable energy by 2030. As of today, while we are talking, we have already installed capacity of around 180 gigawatt. And this is a very much achievable target. Secondly, we have also, Prime Minister Modi has come out with Life Mission. Life Mission is lifestyle for environment. That means every citizen in the country or every citizen in the world should live responsibly. Just look at the Indian ethos. What is Life Mission? Life Mission means we need to use whatever is necessary for our existence. And what sustainability is? To use the natural resources responsibly. We have to leave a better world for our generations to come than what we have got when we were born. I think that very idea should motivate everyone to contribute towards the sustainability, to be aware of how they are using the electricity, how they are using the water, how they are using the other resources, which are natural resources. Ultimately, these resources are not unlimited. There's a limit to these. I think that these need to be inculcated, need to be adopted by each and every citizen in their daily uses, in their daily routine. Just imagine India is having 140 billion people, right? So if one person saves 1 liter of water per day, so what is the saving in a day? What is the saving in a month? And what's the saving in a year? So that is definitely going to contribute significantly towards the protection of the environment. We can make this world better for everyone.
And definitely, but India also has a strong track record when it comes to recycling. In our own homes, we generally tend to recycle, and this is something we should imbibe. How does PHDCCI empower its members to align with these national goals? And how optimistic are you that these goals will be achieved? Because there are many international organizations tracking India who are very impressed with the progress made, especially when we have not even hit the industrial, revolution. We have not even consumed as much energy or polluted as much as developed countries. But the Prime Minister says we can do it. We can grow and be responsible at the same time. How optimistic are you?
See, we have actually made a mantra that is sustainability is a competitive advantage for our business. It's not enemy of the growth, but it's a growth engine for our further development. Therefore, sustainability needs to be looked at that way. Number two, PhD CCI, we have around 60% members who are MSMEs.
Okay.
And Government of India has recently redefined MSME criteria. That means the companies up to 500 crores, they fall into MSME. Large chunk of those companies, they are about 99.9% companies in India, they are MSMEs. So all these companies have aspirations to grow. We at PhD CCI, we have a sustainability center where we keep organizing various awareness programs. And we also are impaneled water auditors for Government of India, Ministry of Jal Shakti. So that way we contribute through the water audit and how we can save more water in the industries. And we do energy audits, we do BRSR, we do sustainability reporting. Then we have signed many MOUs with international agencies who certify the projects. And time to time, we keep organizing these kind of awareness seminars, conferences, workshops, and we get a lot of queries from our members as to how, because recently we have seen that Europe, though they have postponed it right now, CBAM.
CBAM, yes.
The CBAM was supposed to be implemented right from 2026, but it has been postponed for a year now. So when these kind of carbon
Tax.
border mechanism tax they are imposed, then
Non-tax.
our MSMEs, they become, it becomes very difficult for them to survive in the global market.
And compete also.
Therefore, and MSMEs are the businesses which are very agile. They are at the grassroots. I think that this is the right stage where they can really adopt these sustainable practices. It is not necessary that you have to take a leap. You have to implement everything in a day. What we tell our members is do 1% daily improvement in the sustainability practices. Even if you do 1% improvement on daily basis, in a year, you'll be 37 times better. So it's a huge impact. So same way, this is our mantra, that we don't say that you have to take complete all the sustainability steps in a day or maybe in a month. I think everyday basis, as per their available resources, they keep taking these steps. I think that will make a big difference.
Right. Could you talk a little more about these initiatives? And why I ask is, you mentioned that a large portion of your membership is smaller companies. For many smaller companies, they see this as a cost that has to be sunk, while those who are taking a moonshot are looking at what new businesses will grow, what new skills will be needed, what new employment will be generated, and how it's a force multiplier for our economy. So how do you then balance this and show them the light that, see, it's a cost now, but going ahead, there's a huge benefit? And do you help them with green financing or, other such advice?
Yeah, it's a very good question. In fact, these green initiatives or sustainability, as I said, it's initially people think that it's a cost. However, this is an investment and it's a mindset. This is where people need to change their mindset. We have seen many examples like textile company. There's one company in Gujarat which reduced its 40% water usage through sustainable practices in a year. So that 40% saved water, then they recycled and it supplied to municipality.
And industrial water is expensive. It's not
That's
cheap.
right. It's expensive. So
that
becomes
cost saving.
a business. That's a cost saving. So that becomes a business model. Same way, you just go back a little bit. In 10 years before, there used to be LED bulbs. They were very expensive. One bulb used to cost around 250 rupees or so. But today they are as costly as any normal bulb.
Yes.
However, the savings is tremendous. Even at our homes, when you use these electric bulbs, which are
LED
energy efficient, then that really, makes
cuts on our electricity cost.
That's right. Same way in our ACs, we see the star ratings. So today we buy any electrical gadget. So definitely we go and look for the star rating. Same way, today the new generation consumers, the youngsters, they are quite conscious of these sustainable practices, because people don't buy the product which are not green, and they are ready to pay more for these green products. Just imagine, there are buildings which are green buildings. Today, any building which is coming up, it is going to be a green building. Same way, if you are setting up a factory today, most people, they set up a factory looking at around 50 years horizon, that how the world will change that time and how they can use the sustainable material, and which saves the cost also, which saves the energy, which saves the water. All these things are taken care of. I think more people are aware about it. I think they are working on it. And initially, there is some investment,
Hmm.
some expense, which is actually
Actually an
an investment.
investment.
And they are going to get a return for this. And moreover, these green financing is available. That means the financing is on a cheaper rate than the normal financing if you are doing something green. So all these things are motivating. And I think that here the framework that government of India has made and companies which are coming out with these kind of products, I think they play a huge role in promoting these kind of practices.
In fact, in everyday life, you can see 10 years ago, having a big diesel guzzler was the beacon of being affluent. But today, people are investing in electric cars because they see the saving, they see the environmental footprint, and decide to do that. You've spoken about awareness campaigns. The government also has a lot of schemes for greening, whether it's rooftop solar, etc., etc. Many people still don't know about it. Could you tell us what awareness campaigns are you doing for your members so that they're able to tap into some of these government schemes as well that are incentivizing either solar or EVs or some sort of incentive for going green?
You see, initially, of course, I mean, government keeps giving these kind of schemes. There's a scheme for electric vehicle. There are schemes for PLI schemes for manufacturing of solar panels. And FAME 2 scheme is there, FAME scheme is there. All these schemes are there, and mostly our members, they take the advantage of these schemes, and we continuously engage with Government of India that whenever any new scheme comes, we make sure that those schemes are talked about, that they are discussed, and also many awareness programs are done in industrial clusters and all. So ultimately, any scheme which is being driven by Government of India, that needs to reach to the ground level, and because actual work is going to happen in the ground level itself. So therefore, these awareness programs we keep doing all over the country. We engage with our members so that they can take the full advantage of these schemes. We keep doing these kind of programs.
Right. Dr. Mehta, what I want to try to understand is to the center, the kind of work that is being done, especially when it comes to creating new solutions. Now, you mentioned that, those who cater to green and environment, say you make an EV car or you make a fuel cell which is used in a hydrogen bus or say even a hydrogen train, which is becoming a reality. So does it mean that this becomes a preserve of large companies who have the resources to try these new big products that will be needed in the future? What happens to the smaller companies who are still, making your bricks and mortars products? Are they then able to innovate? Because you do provide a platform for, discussion with academia as well. Academia may have good ideas, but they need somebody to scale up the solutions. So do you think they also have a possibility to become game changers when it comes to sustainability, products and solutions for the same?
In fact, just remember in mid 90s, when the computers were being implemented in banks, there was huge resistance. And also the cost of computers was so high. That time we used to think that, not
everything will be imported, it will be expensive, yes.
Right? And look at the smartphones when they came. And today, even in a village, anyone, even your sabji vendors, they are also using smartphones. They do it very nicely. So technology, initially when it comes, it's expensive. But slowly we have seen that when mobiles came, the calls were so expensive, 17, 20 rupee per call. But today it's so, reasonably priced. So same way, even with these, like you said about green hydrogen, Government of India has come out with a green hydrogen mission for 20,000 crore. And green hydrogen is the future fuel. And whenever anything new comes, there is a resistance and there's a doubt in the mind of people. And seeing is believing. Initially, you look at when solar power was installed, then it was around 20 rupee per
unit.
But today it is as competitive as any thermal.
Coal based, yes.
Right. And India India is importing around 80% of its energy needs.
Especially on
It's a huge.
huge saving for us, yes.
Just imagine when we are producing green hydrogen, we are producing renewable energy like 500 gigawatt by 2030. Just imagine that how much good we'll be doing to our economy.
By saving.
Look at our balance of payment.
Mm.
That will be a huge advantage for our country. So all these steps, when initially we are starting, but we have a vision to become Viksit Bharat by 2047. And if we do not take these initiatives right now, we cannot become Viksit Bharat by 2047. So everything which is starting today, it may look very small a step, but with 1.4 billion people, right, 140 crore people, I think that we have a huge advantage. And India being the most populous country in the world, and 60% of our people are young. We have the youngest population who can contribute to the economy. So therefore, all these things, when anything new comes, initially there is a kind of inertia. Initially there is a kind of resistance. But I think that these are going to pay us. These are going to become our asset. And when imagine in 2014 we had a target of 100 gigawatt of solar energy by 2022. But in 2000, by 2030 we have made it to 250 and 500 gigawatt of overall renewable energy, which includes wind, solar, biogas, all these energies. So I think that we are going in the right direction, and we are the big energy consumer. At the same time, India is also third largest carbon emitter in the world. So we need to take these steps. It's not a question of for our business, but it's for our survival.
Dr. Mehta, if there is a young entrepreneur who's watching you, what is that one bold step towards sustainability would you advise them to take, or maybe the lowest hanging fruit that they can do today to make the business more sustainable? What would it be?
You see, India is the third largest startup ecosystem in the world. When Startup India was launched, we had around 400 startups. But as we are talking today, we have more than 200,000 startups in our country. And we have more than 115 unicorns. And many of these unicorns have come only after 2020, the COVID. And our youngsters today, the kind of innovations they are doing, the kind of business models they are coming up with. So they are the most agile. They have an opportunity. They should look at it as a life cycle, how they can use the sustainability. Because this is the time. For them, it is the time to think long. They should not think it as a just one-time business and earn some money. No, they are thinking for the future. So therefore, since beginning, they should, adopt all the sustainable practices so that they build businesses that last lifelong. They build businesses, they are sustainable, resilient, and they are globally competitive. And our startups, young entrepreneurs, they have this huge opportunity because they are doing that business at a time when India is poised to become a superpower, when India is poised to become Viksit Bharat, developed country by 2047. And they are starting their journey right now. In next 2 decades, they have all the time in the world to make what India wants to be. And they'll be one of the most important contributors to this cause.
Definitely, Dr. Mehta. This is the bus that you want to get on. You don't want to miss that bus, because in Amritkal, businesses are going to grow hugely, and let's hope they grow with a sustainable footprint. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.